Hello everyone and welcome to the next session of Core Java. In continuation with exception handling, now we will discuss a pretty new feature added in Java 7, which is multi-catch. So first, let's understand what is multi-catch. If all the exceptions belong to the same class hierarchy, we should be catching the base exception type. However, to catch each exception, it needs to be done separately in their own catch blocks. Means what? Whenever I need to handle multiple exceptions, we end up into writing multiple catch blocks. Now, what all things are there when we are writing multiple catch blocks? First thing is, your business logic is less and your exception handling code is more. This increases the complexity and reduces the readability of that particular code. So you have 2-3 lines of code in try block and you have 4 to 5 exceptions to be handled, each one written in its respective catch block. So now what you can do is we can write a single catch block which can handle more than one type of exceptions at once. And all these exceptions must be separated by a vertical bar, which is also termed as a pipe. So let's now see this through an example. Let's consider this particular example where we have 2 exceptions to be handled. And both these exceptions are performing same task. So I have some method which needs to be called. Now this print stack trace is a method which will print the details of the exceptions which are thrown. So what we can have over here is whenever you need to print the stack of the exception, details of the exception, we can call this print stack trace method. Now I have repetition of code. Obviously, if I have customized message for every exception which is being handled, writing separate catch block makes sense. However, while looking at this particular code, if you see only 4 lines of code I have written which tells me about the business logic. However, I have this much of code just to handle the exception, which is decreasing the readability, increasing the complexity, increasing number of statements to be processed, and there is repetition of code. So in such scenarios, what we can do, we can simply remove this catch block from here and we can write this exception, array index out of bounds exception over here in this way. Now remember that exception is the superclass or any superclass which we have, it cannot be added along with these catch blocks. Generally what we should have is this exception which is a superclass. It is always responsible or it is capable of handling its own type of exceptions as well as its subtype of exception. So any superclass exception handler must appear after all its subclass specifications. So here we cannot have these exceptions mentioned at the same level. So what we need to do if you want to have a generic exception handler, after this catch block, you can add catch exception, and then if arithmetic exception or array index out of bounds exception is thrown, this block will be able to handle that particular code. Else, you have another exception block which is able to handle any other exception which is being thrown at runtime. So this is all about multi-catch. one catch block able to handle multiple exceptions. There can be even more exceptions which we need to handle. This is a new feature of Java 7, and this is how we are going to implement. Thank you.